Why do black people like menthol so much? What's that about? It's a totally different type of cigarette.
You're gonna get me canceled.
No.
This is very racist, this
Is
conversation, even though neither of us are.
It's like if you started asking me about spaghetti. I'm not gonna get offended.
How many people have ever died of pasta-related illnesses?
A lot.
I forgot how good a weed you have.
This is Katt Williams' weed.
Is that really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I'm going to start talking shit on everyone in the business.
Oh, we had Katt Williams ride the racing simulator, and I filmed it. It's like,
This is how he drives, because he does this in real life.
I would love for Katt Williams to be the voice of my self-hate.
He's like, you ain't never gonna be nothing, baby. You suck.
just to wake you up every day.
He's the new David Goggins.
Yeah.
He's like,
Pain is good. Feel everything bad, pimpin'.
I was so happy that I got him to come on the podcast because, like, he was like, Joe Rogan don't want me on this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, I do, though.
Yeah.
I immediately went on Twitter, and I said, dude, I love that guy.
yeah.
How are we allowed to have a foreign policy when we are violating the policies here?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean the immigrants are getting a check and we're putting them up in places that what? You mean in the homeless people's face?
Right in the homeless people's faces.
Like, let us show you what we could have done.
Right.
For years, the feud between Kevin Hart and Katt Williams felt like one of those rivalries that would never end. Every interview turned into another shot. Every podcast clip became another debate online. And just when people thought the tension couldn't possibly get more personal, the two comedians finally came face to face on live television in front of millions of viewers. But here's the part that made the internet lose its mind. Seconds after Kevin Hart publicly offered Katt Williams a peace handshake, he grabbed the mic again and joked that the emotional reconciliation might have been the best acting of his career. And suddenly, nobody knew what was real anymore. What looked like a heartfelt ending to a decade-long war instantly turned into one of the most confusing, layered, and talked about moments in comedy history. Because if Kevin was joking, why did the moment feel so genuine? And if he wasn't joking, did the entire audience just get played live on Netflix? The entire thing went down during Kevin Hart's massive celebrity roast at the Kia Forum in Los Angeles. The event already had huge names everywhere. Athletes, comedians, actors, and music stars all packed the building expecting chaos. Roasts are supposed to be brutal, but nobody expected the biggest surprise of the night to walk out wearing black leather with the energy of a final boss entering a movie. The second Katt Williams stepped onto that stage, the room changed. You could literally feel the tension through the screen. People weren't just watching a comedian tell jokes anymore. They were watching two men with over a decade of public resentment finally stand in the same room together again. And Katt wasted absolutely no time. He immediately started firing at Kevin with the exact type of jokes everyone expected. He mocked Kevin's Hollywood success. He brought up the industry plant accusations again. He joked that Netflix basically controlled Kevin like a puppet. Every punchline landed harder because viewers already knew the history behind it. At one point, Katt joked that Kevin keeps surviving criticism like a plant. The crowd exploded. Then he doubled down even more, bringing up rumors that Kevin's career was pushed by powerful industry connections instead of raw talent alone. It was classic Katt Williams. Aggressive, fearless, and just uncomfortable enough to make everybody lean closer to the screen. But then something happened that nobody saw coming. Instead of getting defensive, Kevin Hart stood up and walked directly toward him. The room immediately got quiet. For a second, people genuinely didn't know if things were about to go left. Kevin grabbed the mic and looked directly at Katt before saying they had been at odds for years and that maybe it was finally time to leave the beef behind. He called Katt a legend. Said he respected him as a comedian first, then he offered him an olive branch right there on live television. And Katt? He didn't give a speech. He didn't drag the moment out. He simply shook Kevin's hand and hugged him. That was it. But somehow, that tiny moment felt bigger than every joke that came before it. The audience exploded. Social media instantly went insane. Clips started spreading everywhere within minutes. Fans were calling it one of the greatest live roast moments ever because nobody expected two comedians with that much history to suddenly squash everything publicly. But Kevin Hart wasn't finished. And this is where the entire moment turned into something way bigger. After the handshake, after the hug, After the crowd celebrated what looked like a real reconciliation, Kevin grabbed the mic again during his closing set and completely flipped the narrative upside down. He joked that people always claim he can't act in movies. Then he pointed directly at the handshake with Katt. And he said that emotional peace offering was some of the best acting he'd ever done in his life. The crowd lost it. Suddenly, nobody knew if Kevin was serious, trolling, or doing both at the same time. Then he kept going. He joked that he didn't mean a word of the peace speech before immediately roasting Katt again over old controversies, failed opportunities, and career decisions. He brought up the long-running claims that Katt supposedly turned down movie roles Kevin later accepted. Kevin listed film after film after film. He basically mocked the idea that Katt rejected massive blockbuster opportunities on purpose. And the way Kevin delivered it made everything even crazier because he sounded half serious and half playful at the same time. That's what made the moment impossible to read. 1 minute it looked like real healing. The next minute it felt like psychological warfare with punchlines. And honestly, that confusion is exactly why the clip exploded online. Because the feud between Kevin Hart and Katt Williams was never just about comedy. It became something much bigger. To understand why the handshake mattered so much, you have to go all the way back to 2014 when the tension first started building publicly. At the time, Kevin Hart's career was exploding. Movies, commercials, arena tours, brand deals. Kevin was becoming one of the biggest entertainers on the planet. But around that same time, Katt Williams started making comments about comedians becoming too connected to Hollywood systems. He criticized entertainers who he felt were being packaged into safe, corporate stars instead of authentic comedians. And fans immediately connected those comments to Kevin. That's when the subtle tension started turning personal. Katt later implied he helped influence Kevin's rise and suggested the industry pushed Kevin forward in ways that didn't happen naturally. Kevin mostly ignored the comments publicly at first, but the internet never stopped comparing them. One comedian represented mainstream success, the other represented rebellion against the machine. And the divide between those two images only got worse. By 2016, the feud had escalated badly. Katt openly called Kevin a Hollywood puppet during performances and interviews. He compared him to a controlled character being moved around by executives behind the scenes. Kevin responded carefully but clearly. He posted photos with respected comedians like Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock while talking about professionalism and unity in comedy. Everybody understood who the message was aimed at. Then Katt took things even further by publicly daring Kevin to a multi-million-dollar challenge connected to a comedy performance in Philadelphia, Kevin's hometown. At that point, this wasn't just sneak dissing anymore. This had become a real rivalry. But strangely enough, Katt later tried walking some of it back. He admitted some comments shouldn't have been made publicly. For a moment, it looked like the situation might cool down. It didn't. Because a completely different controversy ended up pouring gasoline all over the feud. That controversy involved Tiffany Haddish. During a radio interview, Katt questioned whether Tiffany had truly earned the level of praise and opportunity she was receiving in comedy. He implied there were other comedians more deserving of those opportunities. Kevin Hart immediately stepped in to defend her. And this became one of the most important moments in the entire feud because Kevin finally stopped being subtle. He directly called Katt out. Kevin basically said Katt once had every opportunity to become the biggest star in comedy, but failed to capitalize on it. He accused him of missing opportunities and sabotaging his own momentum. That changed everything, because now the feud wasn't built on hidden shots anymore. It was direct. Fans instantly split into sides online. Some believed Katt was exposing uncomfortable truths about Hollywood favoritism. Others believed Kevin's simply outworked everybody around him and earned his success through discipline and consistency. And for years, the debate never stopped. But nothing, absolutely nothing, escalated the feud more than Katt's appearance on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay podcast in 2024. That interview completely broke the internet. For nearly 3 hours, Katt unleashed years of frustrations, accusations, stories, and industry criticisms. and Kevin Hart became one of the biggest targets. Katt claimed Kevin got movie opportunities originally meant for him. He suggested Kevin's rise was strategically manufactured by Hollywood executives. He accused the entertainment industry of rewarding people willing to play by certain rules, and whether viewers believed him or not, the interview became a cultural phenomenon overnight. Millions of people watched it. Clips flooded social media for weeks. Even late-night comedy shows and sketch programs started parodying the interview because everybody was talking about it. What made the interview so powerful wasn't just the accusations themselves, it was how confident Katt sounded while making them. He spoke like somebody who had been holding on to those frustrations for years. Meanwhile, Kevin responded completely differently than people's expected. Instead of diving into a massive public war, Kevin mostly laughed it off publicly while promoting projects and movies. That frustrated some fans who wanted a direct confrontation, but others believed Kevin handled it smartly by refusing to feed the chaos. Still, behind the scenes, something surprising was apparently happening. According to Kevin later on, the two eventually had a real private conversation away from cameras, podcasts, interviews, and social media clips. No audience, no viral moments. Just two comedians finally speaking directly after years of talking through headlines. And that detail changes how people look at the roast moment now. Because if those conversations really happened beforehand, then maybe the reconciliation was genuine. But if Kevin truly meant the best acting line, maybe the entire thing was designed as entertainment from the start. That's why people keep replaying the footage over and over. You can't fully tell where reality ends and performance begins. And honestly, that perfectly fits both comedians. Katt built his reputation as somebody willing to challenge the entertainment industry openly, even if it damaged relationships or opportunities. Kevin built his career by mastering mainstream entertainment at the highest level possible. They represent two completely different philosophies about fame, comedy, and success. That's why this feud lasted so long. It wasn't just personal, it symbolized two opposite views of Hollywood itself. One side believed success comes from playing the game correctly. The other believed the game itself is corrupted. And somehow both sides ended up shaking hands live on stage in front of millions of people. What makes the moment even crazier is that public celebrity feuds almost never end this cleanly anymore. Most rivalries drag on forever because controversy keeps everybody trending. But Kevin and Katt actually gave audiences something different: closure. Or at least, something that looked like closure. Because even now, fans still can't agree on what they really watched. Was Kevin joking when he called the moment acting? Was humor just his way of avoiding vulnerability in front of millions of viewers? Did Katt's silence during the hug mean forgiveness? Or did it mean he simply got tired of carrying the feud for over a decade? Nobody truly knows. And that mystery is exactly why this entire moment became so massive online. Because comedy has always lived in the space between honesty and performance, between truth and exaggeration, between real emotion and entertainment. And for a few minutes on that stage, Kevin Hart and Katt Williams blurred all of those lines at the exact same time. Maybe the piece was real, maybe parts of it were calculated. Maybe both things are true. But one thing can't be debated. What happened that night instantly became one of the most unforgettable moments in modern comedy history. Two rivals who spent years throwing shots through interviews, podcasts, and stand-up specials finally stood face-to-face under the spotlight and gave the world a moment nobody expected to see. And honestly, the fact that people still can't tell whether it was genuine or performance might be the most legendary part of the entire story